Out of all the NHL playoff games we've seen so far, Jets versus Avs Game 1 was definitely the craziest. A 7-6 win for the Winnipeg Jets has really set the tone in this series, and unfortunately for the Colorado Avalanche, if it continues this way, they'll be out in no time. And the huge major issue of this Avs team that we need to talk about is that goaltending and Alexandar Georgiev. But what has happened to this Colorado Avalanche team? Do they still stand a chance in this first round versus Winnipeg? And how bad is this goaltending problem for them? Well, make sure you watch till the end as we go through the entire game to see what's next and what could come in the future. And make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're new for more hockey playoff content just like this all throughout the summer. Now we're going to get into the full highlights and what happens next for Colorado, but first let's talk about today's sponsor in Sleeper Fantasy. With the NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, MLB season starting up, there is no better time to start up with Sleeper Fantasy. If you guys go in the description, click on the link, sign up, and use promo code GRAV on your first deposit, you'll get up to a $500 match. If you put in $20, you'll get free $20 to play in Sleeper, and there's so many options to pick more or less on different players to win big here. And today with the NHL playoffs fully underway, my first picks of the playoffs, I got 4 different picks here. First, I got Jake Ottinger, less than 2.5 goals against. Gonna ride Otter. He has been fantastic, and I think he's going to continue that in this series versus Vegas. I also got Andrei Svechnikov, more than 2.5 shots on goal. He's been pretty consistent in this regard, was fantastic in that first game versus the Islanders. I think he's going to be great again tonight. And then I got Mason Marchment, 1.5 shots on goal. More than that, he has been really solid in this department. I think he's going to have another great game. And then last but not least, for the points side of things, Zach Hyman, who hasn't been as consistent lately, but I think he's going to have a big first game versus LA and put Edmonton on top. $10 down to win 76. We'll see how it goes. But sign up to Sleeper today, available in both the US and Canada, and there's no better time to get started with Sleeper. Thank you so much to Sleeper for sponsoring today's video. Now let's talk about the big problem with this Colorado Avalanche team, and a problem that I saw coming into the playoffs this year was the goaltending, especially in the series versus Winnipeg. Although Connor Hellebuyck was human as well in game 1, to me it was a massive advantage for the Jets. It was something that they could really hang their head on, and even though the Avs were going to come out and attack, the goaltending I thought would stay steady for them. I couldn't quite say the same with the Colorado Avalanche and Georgiev in net. And I feel pretty bad because the Avs were actually playing pretty well in this game, especially to start out in those first few minutes. They were electric, and this goal by Nichushkin set the tone. I mean, just look at the scoreboard. Look at how much they were dominating. The shots were 11-2, especially in Winnipeg in front of that crowd. They were silencing them early, not just with that Nichushkin goal, but the momentum they had was pretty spectacular. Unfortunately for the Avs, though, Morrissey would have an incredible play, getting it through so much traffic, and there was only so much Georgiev could have done on that play, but still pretty brutal. You can see this angle, a just really good job of Winnipeg creating some chaos and havoc in front of the net, and Georgiev couldn't see it. This goal was just plain brutal by everybody involved. Georgiev, I would assume, just not a lot of communication with the whole team, and Manson just gives a muffin in front of the net to Nemestikov. I kind of feel bad, man. Georgiev did not deserve that. 2 goals on his first 5 shots against, though, not what you wanted to see. Fortunately for the Avs, they would start to get some momentum going here. Kivi Ranta, some good jam in front of the net, and Wood pots it home to tie it. In about 20 seconds, the Avs would continue to roll, getting some more pressure. McKinnon, what a shot, able to fool Hellebuyck to make it 3-2 Avs. So here we go. All the momentum is going Colorado's way. They are dominating possession, dominating the looks, but yeah, you know how this goes. They just put up a fantastic play here. Connor using his physicality, and Velarde sets up Scheifele. Not the one that you want to have go if you're Colorado, but the defense was floundering there. Unfortunately, not much Georgiev could really do. But the Jets keep on rolling. Lowry comes in and just absolutely fools Georgiev with a 5-hole shot, and this was the brutal one that really broke Colorado's back. You really do need to have this one, especially at this point in the game. Georgiev has to get that. And then the Jets keep cooking. Georgiev gets fooled by the shot, and Lowry is just able to put it in. But it would just continue to get worse. Georgiev not being able to save a rocket of a shot there. But Georgiev just loses the track. He's not able to find the shot, and it bites him in the butt. The Avs get a goal to get back in this game, but again, he would end up allowing just a brutal goal at the worst time, and it would be 7-4 Jets. I mean, you gotta have it, man. It's a fluttering puck. It goes right off his glove, too. And even though the Avs would end up trying to make a comeback, making it 6-7, it would be too late. The goals that Georgiev was allowing were just too much to overcome. And when we look at Georgiev's final stat line, in all strengths, he faced 23 shots, saved 16 of them, allowed 7, and in terms of the expected goals against, it was only 1.96, which means that Georgiev allowed more than 5 more goals than he should have. Insane. You just look at the goals saved above expected among all NHL goalies so far, and you can see Georgiev's minus 4.21 is on a different island compared to everybody else. I mean, Lindgren and Saros a minus 1 point something, with Georgiev in the fours. It's insane. But especially when you look at the player we're talking about here, it shouldn't really be all that surprising, at least this season. With Georgiev being a 28-year-old goalie, it was fascinating to see his road to the Avalanche, really having some inconsistent years with the New York Rangers. But as I predicted, once he was given starter minutes, given the opportunity to be the guy, he would play pretty decently, and he did very well in his first season with Colorado. A .918 save percentage there in 62 games, and was pretty decent in the playoffs too, having a .914 save percentage in 7 games versus Seattle. But this year has just been a different story. Even though he had the most wins in the NHL, in 63 games, he had a 3.02 goals against average, an 8.97 save percentage. Those are not numbers you want. And even though he got the wins that you would have wanted to have, it was Colorado putting up some massive goal support for him because Georgiev was not playing up to the level he should have. I mean, just look at the NHL goalies around him in the win totals like Connor Hellebuyck, Bobrovsky, Shesterkin, and just compare the save percentages, with Hellebuyck having a .921 save percentage. And really the closest guy to Georgiev in terms of stats is probably Vasilevsky this year, who had, of course, a 30-win season and a .900 save percentage, and that was an extremely weak year for him. But Georgiev's case, an .897 save percentage, being as bad as that, a sub-900 as a starter, is pretty rough. And even though this year goaltending is at an all-time low, Georgiev has been one of the least impressive goalies this year, especially among starters, probably the worst. And what was not really a problem throughout a lot of last year has quickly become Colorado's #1 concern. Getting Georgiev back at a good level, getting his confidence high, was a massive, important step. Jared Bednar said the same thing. Getting Georgiev's confidence up was a major thing for them, but after game 1, his confidence is probably at an all-time low, especially with another game in Winnipeg against that crowd. Georgiev is gonna probably flounder. And the thing was, we saw the Avs have a massive trade deadline. They traded Casey Middlestaff for Bowen Byram. They got Sean Walker from the Philadelphia Flyers. They even got some good depth in Brandon Duhaime and also Yakov Trenin. Some guys that can bring some good physicality and are going to be good depth in the playoffs. A lot of useful assets that made the team better. But the problem was the same old goaltending stuck. They didn't end up trading for any goaltending, and in Georgiev's case, the same issues have consistently come with that lack of confidence, lack of consistency in games, and it's starting to hurt Colorado in a major way this year. Now, here's the thing. We talked about this even in the playoff predictions video about Colorado's goaltending, how Georgiev could maybe flounder a little bit, and then Justus Annunen could come in and maybe provide some stability, and that's what he's done this year at 24 years old, having a great season in 23 games, a .908 save percentage in the AHL, and this year in the NHL level, in 14 games, a .928 save percentage. To me, he was the guy that you start in the playoffs, but unfortunately, he might be out too. But here's the problem, is that even though Annunen isn't injured, he is sick per the Colorado Avalanche. And if that is something that lingers for a while, maybe you try to test him in the playoffs, but putting him in a playoff position while he's not even 100% is also not ideal whatsoever, especially for a rookie goaltender who probably hasn't faced pressure like that. Now, he has in the past, playing in the World Juniors for Finland and other cases, but not up to this level, not against the Winnipeg Jets home crowd level. To me, though, I think Annunen is the truth. I think you have to start Georgiev as much as you can right now until Annunen is healthy, and then once he's ready to go, put him in the net because he's just the better goaltender right now. But the big question is, will it be too late? If Annunen is back in like game 4, game 5, and the Avs are already down 3-0 because their goaltending issues, then it won't really matter in the end, unless they go on some miraculous run here that almost seems impossible. It would have to be something like that. And if this sickness lingers, it could be a massive problem. I hope Annunen is able to get back to 100% healthy because he is somebody that has risen to the challenge a lot of times in the past, and I've had such a joy watching him this year really break out in a big way. So I'm hoping he's able to get some time in the playoffs this year. In my personal opinion, it was always a little bit silly to rely on Georgiev to be this unreal starter for them out of nowhere because he hasn't shown you that he could be this year. I mean, there had been some decent points, but for the most part, it was flat out a disappointing season for him, and that's continued on to game 1. To me, for the Avs, it's kind of a weird game plan, and maybe if Annunen wasn't sick, things could have been different, but that's just the playoffs for you. I mean, for the Bruins, if Ullmark stayed healthy, maybe things would be different, but it's not about how things are different. It's about how things are, and for the Avalanche, they have to deal with this. Here's the thing though, objectively, it would be really disappointing to see another disappointing year out of the Avs, back-to-back first-round exits, especially if it were to be because of goaltending. The thing for me was the goaltending advantage and the home ice advantage for Winnipeg being a main reason why I saw them getting past the Avs in the first round. And that's continued, unfortunately for them, to be the case. The home ice has been a massive advantage throughout every series in this NHL playoffs, and the Jets are taking advantage as well. And it's really unfortunate that those issues might hold Colorado back, because I think in that game one, they played pretty well. There were some defensive mishaps, and obviously Winnipeg had a more high-quality chance system going against Colorado, but they had tons of chances, the Avs did. Tons of opportunities to go up, and they had scored 6 friggin' goals in that game. So they were obviously up to the test offensively, but they just needed average goaltending. They just needed somebody that could allow 3 goals in that game. But the way that Georgiev was playing, they were never going to win it in the end. And to me, if that continues, it'll be brutal, because Colorado, I thought, played like the better team in that game one. But at times, Winnipeg was just able to expose the weaknesses and take advantage of every single opportunity. And the goaltending was a little bit better as well. Just a little bit, not by too much, but it's going to be the difference if that continues. But to me, the plan for the Avs should be clear. Once Annunen is healthy, you play him. You start him. I don't care what it takes. I don't care what needs to happen. Georgiev just doesn't feel like the guy. Now, maybe he's able to rebound in game 2 and Annunen is healthy. I would still probably go Annunen just because he's proved more for Colorado recently than Georgiev has, especially just over these last few weeks. It's not even just the playoffs. Over the last stretch, he's been a brutal goaltender, one of the worst in the league, and the momentum was just against him heading into the playoffs, and it continues to be. Just imagine if the Blues never rode the hot hand of Jordan Binnington, and so many other cases like that. The Pittsburgh Penguins of Matt Murray. They could have gone for the more established guy, but they went for the player that was playing better. And Annunen, I think once he's healthy, deserves to get that nod, because he has been, and I think will continue to be, the better option. Obviously, game 2 will be next, and that will be a humongous one. Going down at 2-0, heading back to Colorado isn't the end of the world, since the Avs have been so good at home, but it would definitely start this series off on the wrong foot. But I would love to know in the comments down below for y'all, what do you guys think of that crazy game 1? Who do you think is the favorite going forward? Do you think the Avs can come back in this series? And what do you think about the goaltending debate here? Do you think it'll continue to be a problem? Do you think Georgiev should sit and they should put Annunen immediately? Should they wait for him to be fully healthy? So many different dimensions to this debate, and I'd love to know all your thoughts down below. Of course, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you haven't already, and share a video with all the hockey fans you know online, and click on this card right here for all of my playoff talk right in one playlist. My name is Nathan, and I will see you in the next one. I hope you have a fantastic playoff hockey day, and I will see ya. Goodbye.